In this tutorial, I'll show you how to build a USB handbrake for drift and rally simulation games. This handbrake will feature a slide potentiometer that allows for complete and progressive control over the car, not just on-off. Here's the list of components you'll need to build the handbrake, in addition to those that need to be 3D printed. An Arduino Pro Micro with an Atmega 32U4 processor that I found on AliExpress for just over €3, and, if you don't have them at home, a few centimeters of electrical wire. A slide potentiometer with a length of 35mm and a travel of 20mm. This also costs about €1 at a hardware store or online on AliExpress. I paid a total of €2 for the used hardware. If you go to a department store, they're sold by volume, not by piece, so for just €2, I got more components than I needed. An RC suspension for 110 scale vehicles or those with a 90mm interaxle. I decided to opt for this suspension instead of a simple spring as it will make the handbrake and its response more similar to that of a hydraulic one. Last but not least, the two bearings, which can always be found for around €1 each. So, adding it all together, we get a total price of €15, but we must remember that the suspensions are only sold in pairs and we only need one. Consequently, the real price is around €10 for all the components, to which we add the €5 for the STL files. For that price, you can't get anything on the market. Once you've 3D printed all the files, you can begin assembly. You'll need a few tools, including hot glue, tape, a wrench, a screwdriver, and a soldering iron. I recommend connecting the wires to the potentiometer and, for greater protection, also using heat shrink tubing. I purposely left some space between the lever and the potentiometer so that it can accommodate potentiometers of different sizes. To close the gap, simply apply a few turns of tape. For the same reason as before, the potentiometer housing is also slightly wider than expected. In this case, simply apply some hot glue to its seat and then insert the potentiometer. This will ensure it stays in place without moving. Now we can start with the actual assembly. I list the screws and bolts used at each step. The bearing housing has a direction determined by the two holes above. Orient it as I did, or you'll have to redo it. Lock the nut inside using a wrench. You can put an extra nut to make sure the first one doesn't come loose. Now you can decide which of the two bases you want to use. From an assembly standpoint, they're the same. One is used if you want to screw the handbrake onto a structure. The other, as we'll see later, is a sort of clamp so it can be easily mounted or removed from a desk, for example. You can also do this step before assembling the two sidewalls. It will be slightly easier. As you can see, when we pull the brake lever we move the slide potentiometer. Even if the clearance is very tight, you should be able to screw the two nuts on. You can adjust the height of the handbrake lever simply by positioning these two bolts higher. Now all that remains is to place the Arduino Pro Micro in its position, secure it with hot glue and tin the wires coming from the potentiometer. As for the pinout, it varies from potentiometer to potentiometer, so check the specific one you purchased. In general, however, the 5 volts should be connected to VCC, the ground to GND, and the output to a 0 on your Arduino Pro Micro board. As for the software, it's very simple. First, we install the latest version available for the Arduino IDE. Next, we will have to download from the internet the library that will allow our PC to see the Arduino Pro Micro as a controller. Once done, open the Arduino IDE, go to Sketch, then include Library and select Add Zip Library. At this point, select the zip file you just downloaded. It gives me an error because I had already installed it previously. Next, go to Tools, select Board, and then Boards Manager. We need to download Arduino AVR boards. Again, I've already done this step. Now if you go to Select Board, Arduino Micro should appear, select it and paste this code that you will find together with the downloaded STL files. Now all that's left to do is upload the code, and your Arduino Pro Micro is officially a controller. Don't worry about the red errors that will be returned. As you can see in the control panel, the controller has appeared, and if we try to move the handbrake lever, we notice that the values are read correctly. Now we can see on a game, in my case, Assetto Corsa, that it will be instantly recognized as a peripheral. The potentiometer I used was damaged and wouldn't read low values, but by adjusting the game's parameters, it was still possible to use it and achieve excellent precision.